Another focus that can come throughout the term for example, I think it's slated for year 3 in some of the schools I'm working with, but also can fit in with year 5 or year 6, and that is to focus on the feasts of the Christmas season. So this is precisely referring not to the feasts leading up to the Christmas season, but they happen from Christmas Day through to the beginning of the new year. And it makes an interesting focus. So there is a general introduction you can present to the children, and this is in a booklet called Feasts of the Christmas in the Christmas Season. It's slated as a stage 2 presentation, but to be honest, it could be used at any point in stage 2 and stage 3. It's a bit too much, I think, for ES1 or S1, which is in Australia, kindergarten up through to year 2. But the feasts in the Christmas season might be something that you reach to in your programming. And the presentation guide gives you a little bit of an overview of the whole thing. So the core concept for the teacher reference is this. In the church, Christmas Day, like Easter Sunday, is followed by 8 days of celebration. This is called an octave, Latin derivative of 8 being octave. And many of these days recall particular saints. Christmas is so important that we celebrate it for actually about 2 weeks, beginning December the 25th. And this is called Christmas Tide or Christmas time. So you can have as available dioramas and figures to match the feasts, and the liturgical wheel, which is always handy to have. And this is the presentation that you might introduce to the children, a brief outline of those feast days, and have pictures to match those. And we'll try and put some up to match these feasts as I'm talking about them, which you can have up on a digital format for the children in the classroom. So you present an overview of the Feast of Christmas season and then focus on one in particular to look at that one more deeply in that particular session that you're introducing the whole thing to the children in. And for many of them, though, there is, if not all of them, there is an actual booklet that matches that particular feast. Here's one, the Feast of the Holy Family. And here's another one, the Flight into Egypt and the Feast of the Holy Innocents. I suspect many people kind of sidetrack that one because it has its challenges, but a lot of thought has gone into the booklet and how you'd present it to children from year 3 onwards. So this is what you're actually going to explain to the children, have pictures to match. In the church, Christmas Day, like Easter Sunday, is followed by 8 days of celebration, and that's called an octave. It comes from the Latin word for 8. And in the Middle Ages, they were all given the name, these feasts, the feast days, were all given the name Companions of Christ, and focused on different people who were considered as companions of Christ. So these are the 26th of December, you have St. Stephen. The 27th of December, you've got St. John, the Apostle. The 28th of December, you have the Holy Innocents who gave up their lives, unknown to themselves, but their lives were sacrificed because Jesus had to be taken into safety and escape from Herod. And on the 30th of December, you have the Holy Family. On the 1st of January, you have the Mother of God. So those are the feasts that fall in the 8 days of celebration following Christmas Day. So a little bit of an outline, and this is where you would have pictures to show the children. On the 26th of December, you have St. Stephen, who was the first martyr. St. Stephen was the first martyr for Jesus. He was one of the first deacons of the church. The task of the deacons was to care for the needs of Christians so that the apostles could concentrate on teaching and preparing people for baptism. So there is a little YouTube link here of when a person explains that pretty well, and I've included it in the booklet. I've also said here, St. Stephen's Day, also called Boxing Day, is the day after Christmas. In days gone by, people boxed up food to give to those in need, and King Wenceslas was doing this, as we remember in one carol, Good King Wenceslas, and this is where you can play that carol to them. And then there are other video suggestions about St. Stephen that are available, and these have all been vetted and checked and selected. On the 27th of December, it's the feast of John the Apostle. So John was one of the 12 apostles. John was the apostle who rested his head on the heart of Jesus at the Last Supper. He was the youngest apostle, it seems. He was one of the 3 apostles who Jesus often chose to accompany him on special occasions, such as when he prayed in the Garden of Gethsemane. John was the only apostle to accompany Jesus as he died on the cross. He was there with Mary, the mother of Jesus, and Jesus entrusted Mary to his care. It was John with Peter who ran to the tomb when Mary Magdalene came to tell them that Jesus had risen. And here there are different suggestions. One is taken from the film Risen. And then there are several others covering the life of St. John the Apostle. The next big feast that comes up is the Feast of the Holy Innocents. So I'm actually telling the teacher here, it's quite often not likely to be selected, but it's an important feast. It remembers the children who were killed by King Herod. They're honoured during the Christmas season. The Church remembers them and honours them as saints. So the booklet will guide you through the event as recorded in the Scripture and includes several considerations for teachers. That's a separate presentation I will make. So teachers, you need to discern the appropriateness of introducing this feast, which is celebrated every year and has become a special day to remember children whose lives have been cut short prior to birth. The following video clip added in the booklet here tells the story for children, which could be used following the presentation as suggested in the booklet. There we go. Then you've got the Holy Family. There's a whole booklet on the Holy Family. And then the Mother of God, and there's a whole booklet available for the Mother of God. So basically, this introduction to the feasts of the season of Christmas is there for the teachers to dip into and to use as appropriate.